Plastic is a product that was invented in the 1950s to be a really durable product. That means in the natural environment it doesn't break down. So when we throw out our plastic products like bags and bottles, when they go to landfill they won't break down, and then when they eventually end up in the ocean they can take up to 450 years to break down. Now this is a big issue because we have lots of animals out there, birds, whales, dolphins, fish, that are all in contact with plastic daily. Microplastics are where they get extremely small bits of plastic break down to little bits and they get eaten by benthic feeders. So this are things like worms and mussels in the seabed that the plastic will accumulate up in their tissues, and it's full of toxins. Lots of little fish will come along and feed on the worms and the mussels, so the toxins also go into their tissues, and then this can build up and up the food chain. So when you get to the top predators like whales and sharks, they're going to have a lot of these toxins in their tissues. We've come up to Scotland because there is a beautiful bird up here called the northern fulmar.
A fulmar is basically our version of a little mini albatross of the northern hemisphere. So it's a seabird, a long-lived seabird. 90% of the fulmars that we have in the UK and Ireland waters are found in Scotland, so they're most numerous up here in Scotland. Fulmar is a good indicator species. That means that we can use the fulmar to get an indication of how much plastic's in the ocean.
The way that fulmars feed is by sitting on the sea and pecking away at small food items that float on the surface. But they'll peck away at anything that's floating on the surface because they think it's food. And you get tiny fragments of plastic or tiny plastic pellets that are used in the plastics industry floating on the sea surface, and they pick up those and the stomach gets full of these tiny bits of plastic.
Because they're long-lived, they will accumulate plastic, and because they're found in many different regions you can also look for regional differences of plastic, and because they don't regurgitate pellets like other seabirds do, it means that they will retain the majority of their plastic, so you can look at their stomach contents when they're washed up.
There's been a definite change in the sorts of plastic that the fulmars are ingesting, and whereas it was industrial plastics in the past which were the real problem, these little plastic pellets from the plastics industry, nowadays it seems to be more domestic plastics that are the problem.
95% of fulmars have plastic in their stomachs, and what this can do, there's two different things. Firstly, the plastic itself, obviously as you might imagine, takes up space in the fulmar's stomach where food should be. So this lowers the body condition of the fulmar whenever there's maybe less food around. Those birds that are in lower body condition are less likely to survive. Also, the breeding success of these birds that have large quantities of plastic in their stomachs will be reduced. Furthermore, their actual chicks will be getting some of this plastic. Whenever the adult birds regurgitate, they'll pass on a little bit of plastic into the chicks.
This is a project that's going on all around the North Sea. So fulmar corpses are being, or fulmar stomachs anyway, is being sent in from literally all around the North Sea. And what has been found is that the areas in the north, like us here in Orkney, have actually got pretty low levels of plastic contamination. Further south you go, down into the Channel, where you've got more shipping, that's where you get the big concentrations of plastic, and where birds, where fulmars are at most risk. So there's only two bird species ashore at the moment. They're guillemots, everything that's on the cliff, lower cliff ledges and on the scree, and on these ledges down here. Look. But all the upper ledges are fulmars, and virtually everything in flight is a fulmar.
When you actually see them in the wild, it's quite impressive to see these birds that we've been talking about for the last few months, to be able to go and visit them. And the big thing that shocked me is we got to see them nesting on these beautiful cliffs, and we were walking around on the beach and there was plastic everywhere. So we've come really high up out of the city, right up to the top of Scotland, onto an island where there's only 20,000 people, and yet the rubbish here, which has been blown, it's not from Orkney, it's been blown from all different areas of the North Sea. It's been brought onto these beaches where these stunning birds are. We've come to this quite remote place, yet plastic is all over the beaches.
Fishing for litter started originally in 2002 in a Dutch harbour. It was a Dutch idea. The idea being let's use the fishing fleet to collect litter when they're out fishing, just as their normal activities. They take litter out of their nets, put it in a big bag we give them, like a builder's bag, bring it ashore, as opposed to doing anything else with it. In Scotland we have 160 boats, but across Europe our 3 projects, it's closer to 300 boats. The amount of litter we've removed is, in Scotland it'll be sort of 350 tonnes. Across Europe we're probably closer to overall sort of 1,000 odd tonnes, and probably more removed from the seas. There are 2 aims. The first is to obviously clear the sea of marine litter, and the second aim is to educate the fishing fleet, encourage better waste management practices, make them think about what they're doing with the litter they bring ashore, but also litter they might create from their galley and from their daily routines. It's been an eye-opener working on the project, certainly. It's worse than you could imagine, I think, really. Makes sense when you think about it. But there's such a lot of litter out there, and most of it is plastic, which isn't going anywhere.
The main issue with all the plastic in the sea is about 40% of it is from consumers. It used to be from ships, but in the 80s there's something called a MARPOL convention, which stopped ships dumping plastic into the ocean, so this is significantly reduced. But now most of the plastic you'll find in the ocean is from the general public. So the main thing that we can do is to be really responsible with the way that we recycle our waste, to make sure that we are putting things out for recycling, not just putting them in landfill. When you're on a beach in England, I think bottle caps is the 4th item of rubbish that the Marine Stewardship Council found when they've been doing beach cleanups. So it was a real big issue, bottle caps, because there's no way of properly recycling them at the moment. And the reason is because they're quite light and they also need to be sorted, so it's quite a big thing to kind of combat, to be able to sort out the plastic bottle caps. So at Lush we've decided that we are going to hopefully be able to collect bottle caps in all our shops, take them back to our pool factory and have them chipped and turned back into our black pots. We're already doing this with our black pots at the moment. If you bring your black pots back into our shop, once you've used them, we're able to turn them back into new black pots. But the aim is to be able to do this with bottle caps as well. And this will reduce tons and tons of plastic going into landfill in Britain, so it's a fantastic chance to kind of stop a lot of plastic going into landfill. It will significantly make a big difference if everybody just does a little bit at home, and slowly we'll be able to reduce the amount of plastic that we use daily.